What do you get from gaming? Positives and negatives. Games can be addictive, and it's easy to lose track of time. It's like a movie, but you get to be the main character, so it's a lot more immersive IMO. For multiplayer, you get to meet interesting PPL. And then there's the skill side. It's really satisfying to master something and do it perfectly, similar to a game of ball. Hand dexterity and the lack of limit in some games allow for really extraordinary shows of skill, sometimes with practice. As for negatives, it can be toxic, you can get exposed to bad crowds, and it can be addictive and a strain on your wrists. There are many types of games, but for me I like those that focus on immersion and story. A lot of people, my mum especially, seem to look down on games because they think the story can never be engaging as a book or movie. But the reality is that people who write the stories for good games can be just as skillful as those that write good movies. It's a newish medium, so it will never have the history of literature. But there are millions of people alive today who are creative, passionate, and observant of human nature. Some of these people still write books, some make movies, and some focus on video games. Playing games is hardly the be-all and end-all of happiness, but if you never play them you will miss a lot of genuinely emotional experiences. I guess this same question was asked of movies 100 years ago by people who only grew up with books. I don't think any medium is inherently better, it just depends on the skill of the person using it. Someone get this man a PS5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. Fun and pleasure, that's all I can say. It's like playing checkers. As for time spent gaming, I rarely go more than 2 hours straight as my eyes usually get sore and I don't like sitting in one place too long. In my teens and early 20s though, I would go for 5-6, maybe 7 hours straight. Yeah, they can be addictive. Positives are that you have fun first and foremost. Also, gaming is a great way to bond with your friends and family. Negatives are addiction, money wasted, and very commonly, rage. There are many games that can bring out the worst in people. I like to play massively multiplayer games, and when I gear up really well, I help people that aren't the best at it and want to do things, and it makes people's day. It makes my day just to be pleasant, and make other people's day pleasant. The difference between the top 5 players and the top 0.06 is of such tremendous quality that you could literally spend your entire life getting to that point in a game. I've played sports, but nothing got my heart going like a high-ranked game of Siege, Hell Let Loose, or the finals. Multiplayer games are great because it allows you to connect with friends and have shared experiences. Just like getting together to play cards or a board game, video games give you a little competitive spirit and a method to have fun together. It's actually my primary way of keeping contact with many of my friends. Single-player games can be very immersive storytelling experiences. My first playthrough of BioShock was more impactful than any big-budget movie I can think of. Genres like strategy or simulation can also be immensely satisfying as you learn the systems and rules of the game and get good enough to beat the most challenging difficulty or watch your virtual city blossom into a metropolis. As for negatives, it can be more expensive than some other hobbies. It can be quite addicting for some people and start to impact their social work lives. It can be difficult for life partners to understand and cause tension in the relationship if healthy communication doesn't happen. Pro: passes the time quickly. Con: passes the time quickly. It's different depending on genre. A game could be 1. A very engrossing story that has 50 hours of build-up and allows you to control your main character while adding in cinematic cutscenes. Can be very relaxing too as you trudge through the game at a pace you set, explore your surroundings, which can be rather large. You'd be surprised how far video game stories have come, along with their music. 2. It can be a highly competitive multiplayer experience where you can talk trash as you compete against others. You can also bring your friends to help you out and collaborate with them. Social gaming is great. 3. It can be about personal achievement, beating a difficult single-player game and just enjoying the adrenaline of super tough bosses. This also could tie into a power fantasy where you upgrade your character into being an all-powerful god and stomp bosses. 4. You can play some casual party games with your friends and/or family, like Mario Kart, Mario Party, Smash Bros. The list goes on. Point is, you can find a lot of different games for yourself and enjoy them. Just comes down to how you want to spend your time. Moderation is definitely key though. Video game addiction is real. I have too much time and nothing wastes it better apart from maybe internet, but that can be combined with games for the ultimate waste of time. Plenty of fun and good stories. Also back pain when I slouch in front of the screen. I mostly play online FPS games against other humans and I like the thrill of it all, kind of gets the heart going. Working with your teammates and figuring out plays together, it's all excitement for me. Input goes in, results come out straight away. Constant consequences for interaction with the video game, I like that, and it's a positive. The negative, I get so much dopamine from it that nothing else interests me in life. It's a good way to relax and pass time. I usually play single-player games or sometimes a multiplayer game as a duo. I don't play competitive games as I find it can be stressful. I used to play a couple of times a week and not for extended periods of time unless it was a really good game. I guess the best way to describe it to a non-gamer is if you've ever picked up a really good book and didn't want to put it down because you were enjoying the story and want to know what happens next. Ultimately, it's escapism, same as TV, etc. Some people play as a way to socialize with others, like they might have a group of real-life friends that play as well, so it's like a group of people playing a board game together. Then there's the people who get addicted to games. There's a wide variety of reasons for this: dissatisfaction with their real life, mental illness, role-playing as a means to connect with other people and that's their only connection, etc. Positive. It boosted my English studying in school to the point where I was almost fluent when I graduated high school. I was at the top of my class even without any cram language schools. I just immersed myself in the language from the games I've played. Negative. Playing video games as a kid became kind of a habit for me and I've missed out on picking up other more productive hobbies when I had plenty of free time. I've developed a pretty boring and one-sided personality in my teens and my socialization was not great. I had a ton of opportunities to become a lot more than I was, but I often opted for killing time by playing games I didn't even particularly enjoy sometimes, just because it became a habit for me and I never looked for something else to do except for reading books maybe. Now I play games when I have time. I enjoy the occasional challenge. Some games offer unique narrative presentation that's impossible in any other medium. Also, video games provide a feedback from players' actions that also can't be found anywhere else, be it chopping up hordes of zombies, punching coins out of brick blocks, or building and managing thriving cities from scratch. That's how I'd explain what separates gaming from other forms of entertainment. Positives? I love playing games. They pique my interests, excitement, imagination that I don't normally have and kind of make me feel like a kid again, in a way. Negatives? Although they can be addictive, I haven't had that issue. The main issue I have is sometimes when I feel overwhelmed with stress, worries, I'll play games to try to ignore them and act like they don't exist, temporarily. Problem solving, building, designing things, production lines, vehicles, buildings, defenses, exploring situations I'll never see, to name a few things, and also dopamine receptors go BRRR. It's a way of escaping reality and hiding from real-world issues for me. Positive. Winning always feels good, especially if you clutch up, helps me relax after work. Negative. The online personalities can sometimes piss me off.